name is MC Kalia, and I'll be your captain for the next 1 hour 30 minutes. Let's have this conversation going. Good morning, everybody. Wakey, wakey. It's time for Morning Glory. My name is MC Kalia, and I'll be your captain for the next 1 hour 30 minutes. Let's have this conversation going. Good morning, everybody. Wakey, wakey. It's time for Morning Glory. My name is MC Kalia, and I'll be your captain for the next 1 hour 30 minutes. Let's have this conversation going. Good morning, everybody. Wakey, wakey. It's time for Morning Glory. My name is MC Kalia, and I'll be your captain for the next 1 hour 30 minutes. Let's have this conversation going. Good morning, everybody. Wakey, wakey. It's time for Morning Glory. My name is MC Kalia, and I'll be your captain for the next 1 hour 30 minutes. Let's have this conversation going. It is actually the first day of May 2023. I'm actually headed towards completing the first half of the year. Happy Labor Day to all of us who make effort to make sure that this country runs, and to all those who also make sure that they put something on top of the table for themselves and also for their families. Welcome to the Monday briefing of the Morning Glory Show. My name is MC Kalia, and this is the most comprehensive talk show in Kenya today. We are coming live from Dawi Afrique Photography. Dawi Afrique Photography is a production house based in Eldoret, Zion Mall. Anytime you need anything that goes into video and photo production, consider working with us. In here we say we take images that go beyond imagination. I love telling you that you need a good experience in front of the camera, and also well-documented work at the end of the production process. Now, if you need to dress to be addressed, consider walking into D-Square Fashion House. If you need to learn to dress people to be addressed, I mean, if you want to take up fashion as a career, consider walking into D-Square School of Fashion Design and Tailoring. Anytime you walk into D-Square School of Fashion Design and Tailoring, you have an opportunity to also learn from the school, from the fashion house. This is because both the school and the fashion house are situated at the 4th floor of the KTS building in Eldoret CBD. Looking for a serene environment to learn, D-Square School of Fashion Design and Tailoring is the best place for you. Now back to today, being the Monday briefing. This is where we discuss politics, law, and governance. And today with us is Honorable Philemon Kiplagat Sabulei. He's the Speaker of Elgeyo Marakwet County, actually doing his 2nd term. He needs to give us the secret. And also, he is the chairperson of an organization, or rather an assembly called County Assemblies Forum. These are a forum that brings together all the 47 county assemblies. He is also the vice chairperson of the East Africa Local Government Association. And so with us this morning is Kiplagat Sabulei. He will help us to discuss the state of county assemblies in Kenya in terms of their challenges, the successes, and what needs to be done as we head into the future. Karibu sana Mheshimiwa, karibu, welcome to the Morning Glory Show.
Nashukuru sana, thank you so much.
And of course I've mentioned very modern titles. That is the Speaker. I've mentioned the county, the chairperson, County Assemblies Forum. But then many people would be interested to know, where did this man, Kiplagat Sabulei, come from? Give us a little background of yourself.
So thank you so much, MC Kalia, and I'm very grateful to join you this morning in this very important show that seeks to educate members of the public on matters relating to governance and leadership. And in particular today, matters relating to the progress that this country has made in terms of devolution. And on the onset, I want to congratulate you and your team for the work that you're doing, quite impressive. And being the Labor Day, I think you are leading on the front in serving this country through various sectors that you have the ability and the capacity to do so. So my name is Philemon Kiplagat Sabulei. I'm a true son of Elgeyo Marakwet County, having been born in a village called Chebusie in Metkei. And that's where I schooled until my later years when I joined Nakuru High School and thereafter law school. And I'm happy to have had an opportunity to serve the great county of Elgeyo Marakwet as the Speaker in the previous term and in this term. And I continue doing so, knowing that whatever we do today will have an impact and consequences in many years to come. We seek to give the very little we can in circumstances to ensure that we make the lives of the people of Elgeyo Marakwet through policy making, legislation and oversight even better. I do everything I do in circumstances to strengthen my members of the County Assembly, to have the capacity to hover their leadership skills, and to deal with the mandates that they have been given in law. As the chairperson of County Assembly Forum, which brings together all the county assemblies in this republic, it is a Herculean task that has been bestowed on me by all the members of County Assembly in this republic to advocate on issues relating to county assemblies, legislations, policies, and attention from the national government on matters that will make the county assemblies perform even better. I was also privileged in this 2nd term to serve as the vice chairperson of East Africa Local Governments Associations, which is a coordinating body of all the local governments and counties for the case of Kenya from the 7 member states of East Africa, and our offices are based in Arusha, Tanzania.
So that means you actually have a community office in Arusha, Tanzania?
Yes, we have an office in ESC,
okay,
offices in Arusha, Tanzania. Yeah.
I'm saying that for the purpose of, just in case I land in Tanzania, I know a place to go.
You are safe. We have our secretariat there. Ukiongea vizuri hata utapewa gari utembee Tanzania.
Hey, guys. Dawi Africa actually has a small wing where we do safaris, and I think the director is listening, so that means you need to organize. You go to Arusha because we actually have something to go to there. Anyway, if you're already tuned in, let me know where you're tuned in from. As you can see, we have a very interesting guest and a lot to unpack about how our local governments are running, how the state of devolution, and more precisely the state of county assemblies in Kenya. I can see we already have Ambassador Alfred Sargent says say hi to the speaker. Thank you so much. Hosea Changulet says good morning, Wakili. Thank you so much. There is a Faith Cherop says good morning, following. Thank you so much. Robert Kipiator says in it. Savannah Boy says good morning, welcome, and thank you for always making time to be with us. Let me sample a few more comments. Fanuel George says good morning. Thank you so much. I can see our director Kosgea Rapchesir says lovely Labor Day show. Thank you so much. And of course, as we now continue to talk about devolution, we want to look at devolution 10 years after, of course, we passed the constitution in 2010, but then the actual devolution came in 2013. And before we go into the specifics, Mr. Sabulei, let's talk about, in your own opinion, do you feel that we've done enough to make devolution work as a people and as a country?
As to whether devolution has served the people of this country, I can't even think twice. It has really done so. As to whether it has achieved its optimum goal and the objectives, not yet. But quite, good strides have been made in ensuring that we build devolution and county governments so that we have a proper devolved structure of governance in this country. In 2012, when this model of governance began, and today, you can attest that a number of development agendas have been witnessed in our counties, and majorly because of the devolution of the funds. Before, what we had was perhaps CDF only, that is the Constituency Development Fund, which would come to the constituencies and which was patronated by the member of National Assembly. What we now have, let's take for example, even Wasingishu, Nandi, and Elgeyo Marakwet. The cumulative resources that comes to Elgeyo Marakwet, Wasingishu, and Nandi, because we're just in the neighboring counties, there is no time prior to devolution in which those resources could be devolved by the national government. And this, you can look at it in a number of ways. Even in terms of building the human resource, we have given thousands of Kenyans an opportunity to get employed, and also for them to have the capacity to, an opportunity to serve their people from their local home, that is the counties. And I think even from Elgeyo Marakwet alone, we have not less than 2,500 staff who are serving in various departments. And it is not just a celebration of those who have employed. What I'm looking at myself is the cumulative benefit and value that comes from each and every officer. We have officers who are extensions in cooperative departments, agricultural extension officers. We have road overseers, engineers. We have people at the health sector, nurses and the doctors. We have ECD teachers spanning across the counties, and all those areas in which devolution under Section 2 of Schedule 4 indicates as being the roles and the functions of the counties. And today, each county, I can say without hesitation, is that the county roads have grown much more better than it was before. The health sector, though it is a very delicate and very difficult sector to manage, was not even easier even before. You cannot tell me today that just because counties are struggling on matters health, that it was better before. It wasn't. It is a delicate and very challenging sector, whether it is stationed at the county level or national level. And that's why, even with the national hospitals, you hear, hospitals even in Nairobi, that are struggling, yet they are within the national, sphere, the county referrals and such. So, as such, I would say that counties have grown phenomenal. In terms of governance structures, I think most of the counties by now have had, working organizational structure. The county executive have their own structures, departments, and everything, and how they serve people from the county level to to the village level. We have ward admins. Other counties even have village administrators. We have sub-county admins, the county secretary, and now the departments, which are chaired or headed by the CECs. On the other hand, the county assembly has taken root to a level that the county assembly members understand their roles of oversight, representation, budget-making process, and law-making process, which you can agree with me that it wasn't the case in 2013. So I have a feeling that the devolution is taking root in this country, and most definitely we are getting a better deal compared to the centralized system that we had before.
Okay, and of course, as we continue, and even before we come to the state of county assembly, still focusing on devolution, what are some of the challenges, major challenges that you've seen as we continue to adopt devolution as a people?
There are a number of challenges that are very eminent in the devolution area, and which we hope that in the next phase of 10 years, we will be able to sort out some of those problems. Because as I said earlier, we've laid a foundation of devolution, the structures and everything. There are a number of things which we must still fix. There's the issue of culture. Most of the employees of the counties come from the local county, and the culture of servanthood, working hard, sacrificing everything you have in terms of your expertise and time is yet to come into part of the culture of those, county officers. We are at a level where employment in the counties is seen as a reward, and it does not taken a picture and a format that you be given opportunity to also serve the rest of the people in the county. So the issue of the culture and servanthood is something that we must work on, so that those of us who have been given an opportunity to sit in those offices and those departments are able to do it in knowing that we are serving the greater good of other people who are not able to sit in those opportunities. So the first thing is the servanthood, culture among the officers working in the counties. Two is that some counties has taken long to have a proper working structures where services can be devolved to the people without major challenges. And when I say this, it takes a number of issues. You have to have policies, and technical know-how on how each and every department should work and where they can complement each other. Some counties, you'll still see some fights, county assemblies, departments, worrying about their budgets. It's because when I look at it, is that we do not have a proper structures in those counties, and so not everybody understands their basic roles, where the line should not cross, and where the complementary nature of their workings relates. So in terms of those structures, we need to do much of the capacity building. And I even suggest that the Senate does some policy laws that can be replicated in all the 47 county assemblies, and which then we can have a team to oversee the implementation and the proper structuring of those policies. I know this will not be a very popular decision because most counties believe that now they are autonomous, they're independent,
and they smaller countries.
Yes, and they can do their things the way they want, including the wrong decisions. Finally, which is the mother of all, the challenges, is the finances. Until today, we do not have sufficient finances to support all the functions that have been outlined in the devolution. And it's so easy to blame the national government. It's an easy excuse to say that the national government has failed to do that. But all of us, we are cognizant of the fact that even the national government is struggling in its own to meet its own obligation. And as such, the issue of the resources still continue to be a problem. Until today, counties continue to receive disbursement 3, 4, 5 months later, which hamper the service delivery in our counties. And finally, the issue of the integrity. We cannot run away from the fact that we still have very many cases of corruption, theft of public resources, and even contractors and service providers failing to do their part for whatever reason, maybe for selfish financial gains. You're given a project worth 5 million. You're supposed to do as provided in the bill of quantities. You lessen the nature of the service that you're offering, just to ensure that you get 2 or 3 coins dirty coins, of course, in addition to what you should have actually gotten. What you do not know is that you are putting cumulative damage to the entire community. If it's about an hospital, let's say dispensary you're building, you didn't build it in the manner that was required to be. Eventually, it is the community that is suffering. Tomorrow, 5 years down the line, the cracks start developing, and the dirty money that you made, which you no longer be having it, is already affecting the entirety of the society. So those are some of the challenges that I think are still keen in our counties, and hopefully those will be the challenges we will seek to do away with in the next phase of devolution.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. And of course, now that you mentioned that, actually the devolution conference will be coming closer to home. We'll be having the devolution conference within Uasin Gishu County. Of course, it comes from Elgeyo Marakwet, but then we usually say that Eldoret is the town that hosts all the Noreb counties. And so I believe that also that maybe would be one of those ways that we'd be able to also communicate the problems that we have as counties, and also the problems that devolution faces. And as we move forward, Honorable Sabulei, you've talked about the successes that the counties has had. You've talked about the challenges, but one of those things that is so prominent is that up to now, counties are doing a lot of things, but I don't know if it is about the publicity or it is because people were not used to this or something like that. What would be your opinion about the big projects that counties are doing, but then nobody's actually noticing? Is it that we are focusing on the wrong development agendas, that the common mwananchi does not feel the impact, ama tumezoea tu kulalamika, ama counties wajui kumarket kazi yao?
You are right. You rightly observed that things that are happening in the counties are a lot, quite a lot, and sometimes they go unnoticed, and that could be one of the reasons why people do not appreciate really what devolution has done for them over the last 10 years. And I could attribute this to a number of things, but first is to confirm that you would go to a number of counties and what they are doing in their hospitals is quite phenomenal. Go to Kakamega, look at their county referral hospital and what they have done to it. Look at Iten referral hospital, the way it was in the last 10 years and what it is today. It's quite phenomenal. Look at the tourism initiative that a number of counties like Narok have put in place, and you will tell me that there's a good story to be said. In Elgeyo Marakwet, we have surpassed what World Health Organization has indicated as a measure of a number of facilities in each particular locality. We have so many dispensaries, so much so that the problem that we now have is how to have the human resource in those dispensaries, and now the supply of the medicine to meet the demands. We have a number of clinics, temporary clinics across the county, and this has also been taken up by the current governor to ensure that we have checkups, general checkups, to curb the issues of the cancer, which when they are earlier diagnosed, it can actually be cured. The county assemblies continue to grow in leaps and strength on matters, capacity building its members, on lawmaking processes, representation, and even oversight. The reports that are churned in county assemblies, and I can talk for mine, Elgeyo Marakwet County Assembly, the oversight reports, I wish the members of the public would go to our website, get a report or two, and look at it. Because these are reports that generally will go to higher offices and authorities like Auditor General and even the Senate. The road networks, that is the county roads that connect village and village, particularly in a county like ours where we have ward development fund, which each ward gets its own allocation, is so robust, that you can never have a society or a village that does not have a proper road that connects, a village and a village. It may not be the best because of the resources, but at least we have a road. And for us, we've given the people the power to make a decision through public participation in each budget-making cycle. What is the reason why we are not able to see that as a community? One is because True, we do not have a modalities of ensuring that we reach the people. We must invest as a county on initiative like this one, the facility and the offices you have today here that has hosted me, so that we use this platform as a way of reaching to the people and for them to understand really what the counties are doing. Two, the counties must be transparent. They must have modalities of reaching the people. And we must have a continuous, not just once in a year, a continuous public participation events. We must not do it only for budget making processes, but we must do it as a way of reporting back on what the county has done and also sharing experiences on what the county is doing and what the people may want to do. Three, people may not realize much because the needs are still immense. You have 50 needs, the county has done 15. You have 35 needs which are unmet. And as a human being, you're more constrained to look at the 35 which have not been met and forget the 15 which has been met. And that should not make us believe that devolution has not worked. I think it is working. And I would urge the people of this country to support devolution, to support the county government, because when it prospers, then even the service delivery in our villages also are achieved. Yeah.
Okay, next question also puts you on the spotlight. You've mentioned the issue of public participation, and of course you are a lawyer, and you understand the kind of public participation that we have in this country. I would make this quite simple for us to answer. In a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate our public participation at the county level?
Now, there's no one state answer to that. You know why? Because each and every county have their own model of public participation. And the extent of public participation in County A and County B may not be the same. Others do public participation in a mechanical way. Just, a town hall meeting, you put in the newspaper, please, we request for memorandum on this project. That is so mechanical. So that you just tick the legal box that has been done. What is important for the people is a substantive and involving public participation. And that should not be enough. The public participation should include reporting back to the people on what you have done with respect to what the people had said that they want to be done. One, we must set directives and policies on how to do public participation. In Elgeyo Marakwet, we have Public Participation Act of Elgeyo Marakwet County Assembly, which details how public participation should be done by the executive and the county assembly, which if not met, then you cannot say that there was public participation. You cannot go to a shopping center when people are not aware, appear and say we are coming to do public participation on this item. You must prepare the community that next week we are starting our budgeting working process. We want to look at the projects in your ward. Please, ward development committee, you can sit prior to the county officers coming to the village and discussing with you. Next week, we want to do public participation on perhaps, let's say, 10 municipality. We want to upgrade it. We want to do this project and this and this and this through the funding of the World Bank. We want to hear from the residents of that particular locality how they want us to do it better and which road should be considered in priority. That should be as substantive as it can be. A number of counties, including Makueni, Nakuru, Elgeyo Marakwet, and there must be others that I have not mentioned, have had a very robust public participation model. In fact, in 2019, Elgeyo Marakwet was feted by Open Governance International for being open and transparent in matters public participation. It's an issue that even the courts have delved into as to what really constitutes public participation. It is still mechanical in majority of, even in the national government. How many times do you find national government, coming to your locality and asking your views on how it's done? And you cannot have an excuse that because you have a member of parliament and a senator and a women rep who are your representative, then the same should not be disseminated to you. If that was the case, then that elected member should have come to you to ask for those views. And that's why in the counties, members of public may not sit, but if they were to compare us with the national government, we are much, much more better. We go to the people whenever we have something that the law requires us to do public participation. So I agree with you, it is still a very thorny issue, but we try through devolution conference and legislative summit, the one that the assemblies host, to share the best practices that each county is doing, so that even those who are a little bit behind can see the need for them to, pull their socks and offer better public participation for the good of the people's understanding of the projects and the activities of the county government.
Okay, that is Kiplagat Sabulei. He is the Speaker of the County Assembly of Elgeyo Marakwet, and he is with us this morning to just help us understand the strides we've made as a country in terms of devolution. And the next item you're going to handle is actually the state of now county assemblies. Of course, I'd said he needs to share with us the secret because he's doing his second term as a speaker. It is something that does not happen most of the times. So I don't know what you did differently. But then in connection to that, you've been there for 5 years. You're doing now your next also 5 years. And in your opinion, how impactful are the legislations that are made by the members of county assemblies? Of course, that also touches into the other title you have as the chairperson of the County Assemblies Forum. Are the laws you make at county assemblies impactful to the lives of the people of Kenya?
Yeah, thank you so much. And I think I also, much as I take a little bit of credit, I think I thank members of County Assembly of Elgeyo Marakwet, both in 2017, being the second assembly, and now being the third assembly. In fact, the third assembly did something very special and phenomenal in this republic for electing me unopposed. Not that there were no other candidates, but the members themselves agreed unanimously that they have confidence in myself as the speaker, and they implode upon the rest of the candidates not even to present their nomination papers. And that is an immense respect and show of confidence by the members of Elgeyo Marakwet County Assembly, whom I continually work so hard to ensure that I do not let them down by ensuring that they are able to deliver and discharge their mandates, particularly now on the issue that you mentioned on the lawmaking process. Lawmaking process is a very technical thing. Even for us who are lawyers, we've been trained in legal drafting, it is not an area that everybody will understand because it's a technical area. And what we do then is first to understand how our parliament's structured. The parliament are structured in a manner that the honorable member understand the issues and the challenges and the needs of the community which he serves. What this happens is, if I can put it in a very easy way, you walk in your village. Myself, I come from Kipsao, so Chebushe village. I walk into the village, I interact with the locals, and I realize, there is a problem in how planning has been made in matters road network. And that when I come to the county assembly and ask the speaker, why is this problem so immense in my ward, and perhaps in the entirety of the county, then the speaker then, sitting with the technocrats, who are now the lawyers and the legal officers in the county, can determine that this is a matter which should be acted upon by way of a petition, by way of a motion, or by way of a legislation. If it is by way of a legislation, then we sit with that honorable member, hear his ideas, put them into paper, and sign it under the name of that honorable member. That truly belongs to that honorable member because it is an idea that he has seen and he has noted the need and the desires of the community. That is the law-making process, and that tells you why the role of the speaker is so important, because if that member is not strengthened, is not guided towards that law-making process, it may not achieve that particular aspiration. That is the role we play. Two is, what can we do as county assembly so that we have the laws that respond to the people's needs? One is to ensure that county assemblies must not engage in a process of copy-pasting legislation. Today you hear Migori has made a very good law on perhaps FIF, Facility Improvement Fund, and you rush, take the bill, come and copy-paste, change it to read a Wasing issue, and have it rolling. That's not the lawmaking process. The lawmaking process is not about paper and ink. The lawmaking process must have a heartbeat of what Mwananchi wants. So you listen to the people and then come and put it in paper. just like the way we have the current constitution, it took many years because you engage the public on what really they want. Are they okay with this proper, with this, governance structure? Are they okay with this number of representatives? Are they okay when the decisions are made in this manner? Once they are okay, then you put in paper and ink. And so, laws that have been made by constant consultation and listening to the people are the laws that I can say they are impactful. Laws that are made in a mechanical way, that you just take a paper, change, and tell the people we have a very good law that touches on this area, may not be very impactful in the long run. The people must have a feeling that the County Assembly has enacted a law that speaks to their needs. In fact, for that reason, then it means they can follow it up, even on terms of the implementation. Otherwise, you can do many laws that just remain on the shelf, gathering dust. That is not impactful.
Okay, you've mentioned something about the one at the wards. What's the name of the fund? The Ward Development Fund.
Yes. For Elgeyo Marakwet, we call it Equitable Development Fund.
Equitable
Development Act.
Or Development Act.
Which is, we call it IDA. But what we are doing under County Assemblies Forum is that we are presenting a petition to the National Assembly and Senate for what now we will call County Equitable Development Fund.
Okay, so at the moment, of course, I understand that every county is doing it in their own style and manner. And of course, one of the reasons why you may want to have such a fund is just the same way the MPs are fighting for the constituency development fund, is that we live in a country where people may not necessarily understand that you are a legislator, and maybe the first role that you do could be oversight, and secondly, maybe the issue of representation, and also, of course, other issues. But then they would want to ask, what has MCA done for us? What has, I'm sure even you as the speaker, you may not have a direct mandate to build a road within your ward. Yeah, but then at the end of it all, that question will always arise. And of course, it is human nature for it to arise. How do you balance this as a person? And if you were to advise your, of course, members of other county assemblies, because it is a touchy issue that most of the time does not meet or does not reach the discussion table, but then it remains one of the biggest. Everyone is looking for re-election and they want to be re-elected back. How do you balance that between the mandate that you have and now the development bit of it?
I think part of the problem that we still have, and I mentioned earlier, is one of the challenges of devolution is that the members of the public are yet really to understand the structures and what each and every elected officer or nominated or appointed officer is required to do. And that's why, because Mwananchi may not understand that a parliamentarian is just to do laws, budget making processes, to do oversight and representation, Mwananchi will want to know, what did you build for us? Who did you employ? Did you come for a fundraiser when we had one last week? Those are things that they look at, which primarily and essentially, they are not really part of the mandate of that particular officer or a state officer. And it is for that reason that even when the courts, and I would say rightfully, say that CDF is unconstitutional, they were happy in arms, because then the next time you come back to your constituency, they will tell you, when Honorable Titus Chesir was an MP, we had this school bus, this road was made, we had these bursaries, what did you do? You cannot stand and say, I sponsored a bill, this motion was under my name, in fact, I did oversight, I was a chairperson of this, I did a very robust oversight. They won't hear that. And that's why members of parliament are fighting for it, so that they have something physical, tangible, that they can attach to their names. Perhaps that is the reason why. And it is different. I would agree with the High Court that Constituency Development Fund is unconstitutional, whether we fashion it in the manner that we want, whether we use political influences and mechanism through backdoor to ensure that it is ongoing, it is unconstitutional. What we should have is a model where we still can have those funds, but in a model that respects the structures of the Constitution. Why do I say this? So that people understand. Executive is given power to implement the projects and development initiatives in each and every area in this country. The role of an elected politician, an MP or an MCA, is to oversight, is to devolve resources for that function. You cannot do a budget, then come and patronage the same money. It should be under the purview and the zone of the county executive, so that tomorrow you can come and oversight and say, we said this road should be made in this manner. It was not made in a manner that was agreed. The school bus and all those kind of things. And so members of National Assembly wanting to patronage those kind of executive nature projects, for me it's not right. Two, what have we done as a county assemblies to run away from that? For the county assemblies is that we just earmark resources that goes to each and every ward. In Elgeyo Marakwet County under IDA, we have a formula, just like the one for the CRA, in which each ward, depending on the mass, depending on the population, poverty index and such, will receive an amount every year that goes to the development of that particular ward. So one, we do the law that devolve resources. Two, we let the county executive to put those resources under the projects that Mwananchi in that ward has agreed through public participation and are taken both by the county assembly and the county executive. What that means is that the money is there, it is earmarked for that ward. It is the local Mwananchi who decide what project those money should do. But now it is the work of the executive to do the procurement, identify contractors, and to do that work, not the members of county assembly. We will come back later in the year to see whether the projects and development agendas which were anticipated were actually done. For me, that is how to do it, and not to have the politicians being on the face of implementation of those projects.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Of course, it is an area that I would say it is quite sensitive, because it touches both the leader and the employer, who is the Mwananchi. Anyway, moving forward, we'd also want to look at the issues of now financial independence of the county assemblies. Of course, first of all, give us a background of what it is at the moment, and what you would want to see in the future in terms of how independent the county assembly is in terms of its funding.
Public Finance and Management Act was amended so that the process in which the county assemblies will get the resources for running of their affairs under their mandate must first be sought through the county executive. What that means is that before the county assembly gets any resources to run its oversight activities, law-making processes and representation, and all other services, we also have staff. Elgeyo Marakwet, we have around 75 staff. We pay them salaries, we pay them allowances, we pay them insurance. We also have service providers, water, electricity, and the meals for our staff and our guests. And those ordinary expenditures that any institution will always have. So we must go to the county executive. The CC in charge of finance must okay our expenditure. Then it goes to the COB. The COB must relook at our budget and determine when to send us that money. They can have mercy on us and give us at the end of the month. They can always, as they usually do, delay for a month or two before we get that money. And we have learned the hard way just to survive in the environment. What that does, and people should understand it in this context, is that it fundamentally affects the workings of our offices and the institutions. The oversight that should have been done this month, for it to be done in the next 2 or 3 months, is already an effect that affects the nature of the devolution. That you have officers who cannot function optimally because they don't have resources. Eventually, that lack of optimal performance by those officers degenerate into low performance in the devolution sector. And what we are praying, and I have had discussion with the devolution committee in the Senate. We have met with both leaders of majorities. I have had a discussion with the chairperson of finance, standing committee on finance at the Senate, is to give the county assemblies financial autonomy. We may still have problems of release of exchequer, but at least the county assembly should stand on its own when it is doing requisition and managing its finances. What this happens is that people may think that we want an easy way to get money for misappropriation. People should understand in this context that county assembly and county executive are distinct institutions. They are so separate that even the wisdom of having finances to be approved by county executive or assembly, it just baffles me. Two, the county assembly has its own accounting officer in the name of the clerk. We do not need any other accounting officer, and even the law appreciates as much. Three, the Auditor General produces 2 reports whenever in each financial year. They produce a report for the county executive and the report for the county executive. So everybody should stand and fall by its own accountability. And then it defeats any logic. Why then, if we are being audited independently, why then should we have another person on the other arm of county government approving our expenditure? Finally, on matters of oversight, when the county executive know that you want money so that next week you do oversight across the county on projects, then it can always stifle that by delaying. And so we have a very good case why this financial autonomy should happen. Finally, let us borrow from the national sphere. We have National Assembly, we have Senate, we have the National County Executive. The executive in the national level does not play any role in finances and the overall activities of the Senate and National Assembly, save for the political role, which is obvious. But in terms of financial and administrative functioning, they are very independent. We seek that we have that uniformity in how county assemblies operates vis-a-vis the National Assembly and the county executive. That is a constitutional structure that cannot be changed. It's happening in the national government. It's happening all over the world. What we are having today in the county assemblies and the county executive is a constitutional quagmire that has not been seen anywhere before. And the earlier we correct that, the better.
Autonomy it is. And now let's talk about accountability after autonomy, because I'm sure so many people would say where there is a freedom, then there must also be some form of restraint. Of course, you've said the clerk is there. Is there any difference? Do you feel, okay, apart from the difference in terms of it will be timely and all that, is there the risk now of misappropriation in this case? Is there a chance for that?
The question is, now that the county executive are patronaging the management of funds by the county assembly, is there no mismanagement of funds in Kenya today because of that? There is, both by the county assemblies and the county executive themselves. But I mentioned that we have an independent office of the Auditor General. They will audit, and they do normally do, the county executive. They will audit, and they usually do audit the county assembly. We do not need any other policing within the county headquarters on how each arm of government does its budgeting processes or even requisition or financial management. We have our accounting officer. We have now the big brother, the Auditor General, who will always audit your books. And as such, the role of the CC Finance, for me, is just it's a redundant function in as far as county assemblies management of funds is concerned. It does not play any role. It's just a conveyor belt.
And for the purpose of my viewer then, that means that the only change that you need is actually for this money to come directly to you.
That is it.
Instead of coming through the executive, then it reaches you. But then nothing will change in terms of how the fund is managed, because you have your own structures to manage that.
Nothing changed, absolutely.
Okay. That is exactly why he's on the Morning Glory show. A lot to unpack. Of course, he has unpacked a lot. He is Kiplagat Sabulei. He is the county... the Speaker, County Assembly of Elgeyo Marakwet. He is also the chairperson of a forum called the County Assemblies Forum that brings together all the county assemblies from the 47 counties in Kenya. And now let's talk about another touchy issue, the issue of salaries. The issue of salaries. And of course, towards the 2022 elections, it was quite an issue. Of course, ilieko kwa gazeti, and people are like, okay, there's no longer need even to vie for MCA. Somebody say there's no need. Do you feel, first of all, that right now the MCAs are underpaid? Do you hold the opinion that right now our legislators at the county level are underpaid, or they are well enumerated?
This has been a raging debate and discussion for a very long time. And I know it's a discussion that many people may not appreciate in the manner and strength that it should be, given. First, you must appreciate the roles that members of county assembly do. And I will repeat again, they do an array of functions under the law, more than 7, including representation, lawmaking processes. They do budget making, processes. They do the oversight, which oversight includes all the projects in the departments that are there in each particular county governments. It is the function of the MCAs and county assemblies to vet CECs, chief officers, and to ensure that the functioning of those offices are properly in place as expected in law. They also oversee the functions of the county public service board. They are the one who elects the speaker, and they are the one who also oversee the general functioning of the county assembly through the committees which are set in place. Members of county assembly are the politicians who are closest to the people. If today there is a problem in the village, the only leader, elected leader that can be assessed is a member of county assembly. Member of county assembly are, as I would say, glorified social workers. Every weekend they're attending burials, fundraisers. They're attending fundraisers for weddings. They are required to be there during baby showers because apparently
baby showers is now a bigger ceremony.
Yeah, it's a serious thing, by the way. In fact, if you're not doing baby shower, people will ask you, what are you doing with your life? And so the social part of work that a member of county assembly does in the villages, in those charges, and all other social activities is so immense. That aside, you must also understand, even in your own thinking, without knowing the structures of the county government, what structure will you place the member of county assembly? Below the governor, deputy governor, the CECs, the speaker, the clerk, all those. What level will you place him? Because I will tell you, there are about 25 cadres of leadership on offices in the counties who are earning higher than members of county assemblies. In their own structure of county government, members of county assemblies earn lesser by far than even the heads of departments within those particular county assemblies. People who just wake up in the morning, come to the office and go back home by discharging their roles, which are good enough, and truly they must be supported. What I'm trying to do, Kalia, is to paint a picture why this discussion is a very serious one, and why we must agree as a country that there's somewhere we failed in evaluating the roles of a member of county assembly and the salaries attendant to it. We must accept, and we must come to a level that we say, there's no mistake to say that we got it wrong. You know, let us bite the bullet. Let us not fear injuring our ego, and accepting that we got it wrong when we are doing evaluation for the salaries of members of county assemblies. And just to set it straight, what is the salary of a member of county assembly? The basic salary of a member of county assembly is 86,000.
86,000 Kenya shillings.
That is despicable.
Okay.
For the roles that I've just mentioned just now.
And now let's talk about the method that was used in terms of making sure that how did whoever arrived to that figure arrive to it?
Good question. And that begs another question. Has it been reviewed since that fatal mistake was done? It has never been. The salary of an MCA has never been reviewed since 2013. If anything, it was reduced at some point in terms of the basic salary. And the question is, what then was used in the salary of an MCA? Without fear of contradiction, those who did that thought that they were elevating a local councillor into an MCA. And they saw a councillor and said, wacha tuongeze mshahara kidogo ya councillor ikuwe ya MCA. A very mechanical process that did not go into evaluating the roles that would come by this enhanced position of a member of county assembly. And people should get to know that a role of a member of county assembly and a role of a member of national assembly are the same, albeit at a different level. If a member of national assembly did oversight, that is the same for a member of county assembly. In fact, as I said earlier, the one for member of county assembly is more robust. Both do law-making processes. Both do representation. And as I said earlier, the one for member of county assembly is much more robust because they are there in the villages every day. And they are reachable to the people much more than the president, the governor, the senator, women rep, a member of national assembly. The roles are the same despite being on a different level. And let me ask you, when you do a law on potato management at the National Assembly, you do a law on potato management at the county headquarters, the same energy is required, the same resources is required, the same expertise is required. It does not mean that just because an MCA sits at the county headquarters, then his role of lawmaking process is subservient to that of a member of National Assembly. And for such, I would argue this way. The percentage salary of a member of National Assembly and that of the president should be replicated for the salary of a member of County Assembly and that of a governor. As we speak today, the salary of a member of National Assembly is 46% of that of a president. The member of County Assembly should earn 46% of the salary of the governor. Today, it's only 16%. This country must learn to dignify the officers and the leaders they bring into offices. You cannot today elect an MCA, then immediately you want to muscle the performance of such a member of County Assembly. We must learn to give strength to officers we elect into offices, because by doing so, then we can hold them accountable in what they do. What has happened as a result, as I finish, is that there's a very high turnover in the election of members of County Assembly. In fact, most assemblies do not re-elect more than 5 MCAs back into offices. Why? These are people who they are expected to do a lot. There's high expectation on what they can do. Yet the structure of their payment, the structure of their remuneration and support is so massive that there is no way they can meet the demands and the needs of society. No way. Unless they steal.
So unless Waibe, there's no any other way. And of course, you've mentioned about the percentages and all that. How easy will it be to review the salary of an MCA in this time where everyone is talking about, of course, the wage bill, in a time where everyone is complaining about how much government is spending, whether at national level or at county level?
It has been easy for the national government to employ CAS, many with serious packages. It has been very easy for the government to come up with very many projects. We are launching projects every day. It has been very easy for the national government to come up with new projects on how to serve the people of this country, which is a very good thing. What I'm trying to say is that it's not about the lack of resources. It's about the focus. And I'm not doing this I'm not an activist myself. I'm not a unionist. I'm clearly defining a fatal mistake that was done in matters relating to remuneration of a member of County Assembly. So what you should do is to accept that we made a mistake and just to devolve resources for the same. And I know, Kalia, that we have an independent commission that relooks into that. We have Salaries and Remuneration Commission, which as the chairperson I've had an opportunity of interacting with them. We have had robust discussion with them for the last 5 months as when I was elected the chair. And personally, I think I'm encouraged that the future of this discussion is heading towards the right direction. And perhaps through its normal structures, we're not pushing them to do anything beyond what they can do. Through their normal structures, I'm hopeful that perhaps they will look into it and find merit in reviewing the salaries of members of County Assembly. And we are doing this cognizance of the fact that the country is struggling in terms of the resources, but we are also saying that even in such a situation, we continue to spend a lot in the national sphere, even in the county level. We continue to see a robust expenditures here and there. So why is it so painful that expenditures is deployed for the improvement of the welfare and the salaries of members of County Assembly?
Okay, there is an argument, I have not yet confirmed this, that we are among the countries that pays our leaders a lot. I have not, I've stated again, I have not confirmed this, but then now that we've talked about this, have you tried to compare the salaries of the MCAs in Kenya and of course similar levels of leadership within the region and even the world? Of course, also appreciating the fact that you are the vice chair of the East African Local Government Association. Have you tried to compare the way other countries also appreciate their leaders at the same level?
One, it is good to do a comparative study. Two, it's very difficult to come up with an accurate comparative study. Why? There is no other country in the world that has a structure like the one we have. So you cannot compare Kenya and Uganda. Uganda, they have councillors, they have districts. So what basis will I use to compare Uganda and Kenya? I cannot also do so with Tanzania. When I go to Europe, what member of National Assembly does is different from what our members here in Kenya do. These are people who appear in town halls, they have a discussion, they go to parliament, and you see them in the next 3 months. They don't engage in activities that we do in Kenya. So I want to say that it is good to compare, but sometimes it can be very difficult to have a proper comparative that looks into the roles of each and every leader. So what we should do really, and what you do when you're determining salary, even for your employer, even for your employee, you don't do a comparative study on what others are paying him. You just tell him your work is to do this and this and this, and from the way I look at it, your salary should be this. You will be doing this, and another person will be doing the same things, but they will tell him, I'll give you accommodation, I'll give you food, and as such, your salary will be this. So doing a comparative study will not give us a proper way of remunerating anyone, not just MCS, but anyone. What SRC should do and Public Service Commission should do, and they do, I'm not even trying to lecture them, they do, is to analyze the job evaluation, the job description, what each and every officer does, and remunerate them accordingly.
Okay, thank you so much for that, of course. And as we come to the tail part of it, this is a discussion that will keep on going and coming. We've talked about the issue of re-election, and we've also talked about the issue of re-election for the MCS. And one of the reasons you've said is because at some point, a lot is expected from the MCA, and people do not actually understand their role quite effectively. We'd also want to talk about the relationship now, how that affects the relationship between the county assembly, individually, first of all, MCS and the governor, the relationship between the county assembly, and this may not necessarily touch on your position as a speaker, but then of course you are the man seated to also control the activity in the house. Let's look at the relationship between the governors and the MCS. Of course, when we started this term, there was the issue of Meru, which I think has been controlled. I think as yet it has been controlled. Every governor would have their flagship projects, which they would want to implement. The MCS will have their own imagination of what they feel needs to be implemented. If I may go further, of course, the governor would still have his own, not even the governor, but rather even the MP and the senator, as much as they have their own legislative and oversight role, they will still have an interest in what the county does. Let's, for a few minutes, talk about unity for purpose, specifically in Elgeyo Marakwet, and also if you can comment about what is happening elsewhere in the country. How now this one is in your capacity as a leader and as a citizen of this country. Let's talk about the issue of unity for purpose, because we have 6 elective positions, but all these 6 are serving the same wananchi. And let's talk about unity for purpose.
You have raised a very, very important question, and I'm happy that's coming towards the tail end of this discussion, because this is what I would want people to remember with regard to the general leadership of the county, and even the country, but in this case we are discussing about the counties. We have members of county assemblies, we have the governor and the entire team of the county executive, we have members of national assemblies working in those particular counties, senators and women rep. Everybody has their own distinct mandates as per the law, and sometime, because of the focus that we have in building and responding to our mandates, we engage in a little bit of fights, because everybody is trying to defend their area of mandate and ensure that they do it well. And that's why you could see in a number of counties, even in Meru, a few months ago, there were attempts to impeach or for the removal of the governor in office. Why? You'd understand that because the county assemblies will think that the governor is not focused in achieving what she promised the people, or she is not being sensitive to also what members of county assembly have promised their people. and they want those projects to be part of what the county government is focusing on. And a number of times it could be about politics, it could be about different focuses of the leaders, everybody with their own manifesto and such, and even misunderstanding on the roles and the functioning of each and every leader. When all is said and done, as I said earlier, appreciating the structures of each and every officer, we should be able to have a complementary nature in which we bring our leadership together and work together. If an MCA can support member of National Assembly to deliver in the projects within his ward, that would be a very good thing. If a member of National Assembly can listen, can sit down with a member of county assemblies and agree on what projects which can be done in those wards, the better, because that constituency also fall within those particular wards, and we are serving one and the same people. The focus of the governor seeking to serve the people in particular in the county, those people are always stationed in those particular wards. And so you'll realize that it's a misnomer, it's a fallacy that leaders will fight just to have a space. And I think it is the people who have made politicians to fight, because everybody is trying to impress the people and to appear that they are the ones who are really stronger or more focused in service of the people. What we have argued before and proposed, and this is an argument that has been strongly put forth by a member of National Assembly, Marakwet West, Mheshimiwa Wakili Timothy Kipchumba Troitich, that perhaps it's time for us to have a county leadership platform where we meet regularly, let's say, quarterly. In those meetings, formal meetings, not just meetings just to have stories, no, formal meetings, to say what is the focus of the governor in this financial year, what is the focus of members of National Assembly, what is the focus of the women rep, what is the thinking of members of County Assembly. We realign our thoughts. Why? Because we are serving the same people. You realize that perhaps CDF will want to put a project in a particular place, which the governor has also earmarked for the same. It becomes a recipe for unnecessary quarrel and fights. We've had through corruption, mechanism that a county government puts resources on a particular project. The county executive, the national member of National Assembly through CDF does it, and it's expended on both ends. When you go to the county government, the money was used. When you go to the project is there. When you go to the CDF, the money was used. When you go to the project, the project is there. So both arms have done the same project, which really is not necessary. So the point that I'm just trying to pass is that we will have more benefit as counties if we put our minds together and work together for the good and for the success of the great people of that particular county.
Thank you so much. Of course, I'm still looking at you and nodding at the fact that you've said that the same project could actually be funded twice, and that has kept my mind. For a minute, I'm staring at you and imagining actually there's a possibility of that, and nobody. How would you even prove that it's not them? Because both could be having the receipts also from the contractor and the invoices, and
now they normally fight on how to place the billboard.
The billboard.
Yes,
and of
everybody it is strategically placed.
And let's talk about this thing of writing on buildings. Of course, it is your mandate to serve us. And I'm sorry that I'm asking you as a speaker who may not actually have a lot in terms of development. But then, and of course, I was once involved in a campaign for a certain speaker who wanted to be governor. Yeah. And they were told, what did you do for us? It is not an easy question to answer.
I know.
I hope you won't take that trajectory soon. And if you need to, please, you need to borrow notes.
I know. Thank you for that.
So let's talk about this issue of writing on buildings and writing on, of course, all the developments that this has been done by this and this and this, and even bearing someone's name, including school buses. I would have seen some written but funded by Koech Kalia, MP.
Yeah.
What is it with? What is the fascination with that?
I think sometimes politicians are overzealous just to put a name to the project they have. No, they have done really.
They have not even. It's just oversight, I think.
Yeah. They have seen its implementation, and I lack a better term to use, but I think those kind of activities are backward. They're actually silly, and it should be discouraged in as much as it is possible. what should happen is that if I'm a member of National Assembly, it will just be indicated that this project was done by the office of
the member of parliament this year. We know
yes.
It was.
Or it was done by the county government of Elgeyo Marakwet. It is known you are the governor. Unless, of course, you sold your land, brought resources, and did that. Then, for that case, we'll even allow you to write your name, Kalia, even in bold, even in beautiful colors. But you are just servants. You've just been placed there to oversee the running of those resources. When members of county assemblies do something that I send them to do, oversight and everything, I do not place my name there. Why? Because it is not me. I'm just a servant who is there to guide the use of those resources and implementation of those projects. So the billboards, carrying very beautiful names of the honorable members, for me, it's quite retrogressive, and it's something that must not live beyond 5 years from where we are today. For me, it will even be embarrassing, and I shudder to think what courage would one have in just having his name, branded in a public facility, in a public item, in which public resources were deployed for that purpose. For me, it speaks of a person who has very little confidence on what he has done and must shout at any available opportunity for people to know that he's still in office and they are doing this and this for the good of the people. So branding should be regulated so that we do not have personalized branding on matters of public projects.
And of course, still, at least time is allowing me to squeeze this question because I thought maybe time will not allow, but it's now, say we still have some 9 minutes. Let's talk about, of course, right now we are in the budget making process. We're also doing the plans for the next 5 years and also for the next 1 year. Of course, I realize that also so many people don't understand the issues of CIPDs and all that. Maybe take some time to help us understand that and tell us, of course, in your county, what level are we and what are we to expect in Elgeyo Marakwet in the next maybe 1 year and also 5 years.
The Public Finance and Management Act has detailed clearly how budget making process should be done in each financial year. The same is also supported by the County Governments Act, and the two acts of parliament derives its mandates and legislative authority from the Constitution of Kenya, I think chapter 17 on how public finances and budgeting processes should happen. So in each and every cycle of 5 years, which we call it a term of a county government or a national government, there is always a CIDP for the county governments. This is County Integrated and Development Plan. By this, the leadership on the county and the people of that county look at the cumulative projects and the focus and the vision of that county for the next 5 years. What are the practical projects which can be undertaken by that county for those 5 years? So after doing robust public participation, the County Assembly passes a document called CIDP, in which then it documents all the projects and the vision of the county government for the next 5 years. It should be very practical. It's not just about the vision, what you dream. It's what you dream, but it's workable within 5 years. Otherwise, you'll find people saying we want to put an airport and all those kind of things. It should be something that is realistic, looking at the resources that you have. Then secondly, in each and every year, now, for 5 years within that particular term, we have annual development plan. So we break down the contents of the CIDP into 5. We say, what can we give priority in the first year of that term? So we now have annual development plan 2023-2024 being the first. Then the next year we'll have annual development plan 2024-2025, and then 2025-2026, then 2026-2027, and 2027-2028. That will be the end. Now what happened is for annual development plan, the county government working with the county assembly now identifies through public participation projects which could be done within that financial year. Once that is done, then the members of county assembly and the members of the ward, of course also working with the executive, identify the projects. Now the particular projects which can be undertaken in that particular ward for that financial year. That they do through a policy document called CFSP, that is County Fiscal and Strategic Paper, which is also passed by the county assembly. Then finally is a document called budget estimates that now brings together all these wards' cumulative budgets and the county government, then the county projects, into one document now that speaks into the dream of that particular county for that financial year. It is called budget estimates. It is now the budget estimates that we pass in the month of June as the cumulative budget of the county. So it's a process. It's a process that runs throughout the year and ends with the budget estimates and the budget document in the month of June. Then after the month of June, we have 90 days as county assemblies to come up with what you call Finance Act. The Finance Act must be passed by September each and every year, which now looks at the finances that the county government can get within that financial year from on-source revenue. What do you tax? And that's why you normally hear a lot of views and cries in each and every county that they want to tax our dogs, that they want to tax our potatoes, chickens,
when you slaughter chicken
and those kind of things.
How would you guys know?
Now, there's a mechanism to enforce on those things. Now, that's now what you call Finance Act, and it comes 90 days after the budget has been made. And so that is the process, and it is detailed in law. It is not available for any county to have their own model of doing it. They must do it within the structures which have been set in law, and it is what exactly that I've just enumerated. And
of course now we're in that process. Maybe at the moment in Elgeyo Marakwet, where are you at the moment in terms of...
We have just, of course we did CIDB several months ago. We passed annual development plan last week. We are now working on CFSP. We have just had the document adopted by the committees. On Wednesday, we will be passing the county fiscal and statistical paper, which will now accumulate into budget estimates in the month of May, and the passage of the budget in the month of June. So we are quite within the timelines of the law. We are not under any pressure. We have done a lot of consultation with the county executive. In fact, we should have passed the CFSP around 2 weeks ago, but we did, as a county assembly under my guidance, agreed that because we still have some time, let us engage the county executive, agree on some very important and delicate budgetary items, and on the projects that the people had asked that they be considered. So we are within our timelines, and we thank the people of Elgeyo Marakwet for always coming out during public participation. We normally have robust engagement even through written memorandums, and we know that when we work together, good things will surely come.
Okay. And before I give Honorable Sabulei a chance to give his parting shot, let's talk about, of course, you are older than me, but then you would still fall between the boundaries of youth and leadership. And at this time where the president is coming from this region, there's a term people use, Nenyonemet, and that, of course, how real is that? And if you had to comment about that in terms of how it can benefit the region, because of course we have laws that govern how everything is done, and of course that may not, that could end up being a mirage if we don't guide our young people into how we can benefit from that. Maybe what would be your comment, and you can join that also with your parting shot.
Very difficult political question to ask. But it is true. Each and every government comes with its own focus and opportunities for its people. The only thing that that will not happen is that there's no government that will come and work for you. And that's why for you, Kali, you must wake up every morning, even with that cliche that you mentioned. You must wake up every morning and come here and work. So that should not be used by the young people of this country and everyone in this country or in this region to think that now things are rosy and things will work for you. We must continue to work extremely hard to support the current government, to support the growth of the economy, and even to support our very own growth as individuals. What normally happens, only just to mention that particular term, is that not all governments are the same. And clearly so, not just in Kenya, the all over, even in USA, even in UK. Those who participate in formation of that government will always have the front seat in guiding that government. And I know for people of this region, the reason why they say so is because they feel like they truly participated in formation of this government by supporting and voting in the Kenya Council government. That means that they have a hand in how the government policies are made. They have a hand and a possibility of even reaching some of the key national leaders who have been appointed in the national sphere. And for that reason, that what means is that they're within the eye of the government in as far as policy decision is being made, which could actually end up, benefiting them. And so what this should happen is that the young people of this country and this region should harness and use the advantage of the leadership that we have today to work so hard so that they can take advantage of the policies and the attention that the national government is likely to give them through direct focus in policies, or even through the nominated and appointed leaders that would come from this region. For example, from this region we have CS, roads, transport and infrastructure. That means then if you have any cumulative vision that touches on that department, you can easily get a footing, support and direction because of the proximity you have with the leadership that is today. And many other PSS, national leadership. The president was here yesterday launching projects. He will do that because this is part of the country, but also more passionately knowing that this is home. And that could be what is bringing pride, confidence and joy among us, the people, that truly the government is ours. And I want to confirm it is theirs, only that for them to realize that benefit, they must work extremely hard. I will repeat the words of Kenyatta, not the one that we know. That can be a little bit disappointing.
You said the other one that you don't know.
We mentioned the one you didn't see himself. You're a young boy. When you hear the word Kenyatta, sometimes it dampens your spirit. But I want to encourage you. There was another Kenyatta whom we can remember and even quote. When you got the independence, he said, "Ni uhuru na kasi." That means that even if we have the independence, even if we have the support of the government, if we don't work hard, if we don't push ourselves every day, then it will mean nothing at the end of the day. So that is it, and thank you for that question.
A very long and beautiful yet careful explanation there. Nonetheless, give us your parting shot.
Today is Labor Day. I want to thank the people of Elgeyo Marakwet for the hard work. When you go today to a number of regions in this county of Elgeyo Marakwet, go to Kapiego, Lelan, Chepkorio, Metkei, we have robust farming that is ongoing in those regions. That is not to say that the lower region is not doing anything. We have horticulture. We have farmers who wake up every day to do the little they can do to push the economy of this country and to make meaningful livelihood for their children. We have traders and many other hardworking hustlers, not only in Elgeyo Marakwet, but also from this region. Those are the heroes that I celebrate today, and I want to tell them that we appreciate them putting us in the offices we are today. The only way we can dignify that respect is by giving them support and serving them. For the members of County Assembly, I still want to put my congratulations to them. The county assemblies have grown phenomenally since 2013 to date, to a level that we have members of County Assembly who understand their roles, and they are doing the very best in ensuring that we have scaled the legislation, oversight, and representation in our various counties. For the rest of the members of County Assemblies in the Republic of Kenya, I want to thank them for the support they have given to the County Assembly Forum. And I want to give them my highest assurance that we continue to labor every day to better the welfare of members of county assemblies and the strengthening of our performance, so that we too can play an important role in entrenching devolution in this country. So thank you so much, and have a blessed day.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much also for creating time to be with us. Of course, being a very chilly morning, and I can see you're experiencing the same allergies I'm experiencing. Thank you so much for bearing and also making sure that you be here on time to attend the Morning Glory show. And there are so many people, when I mention Morning Glory, attention shifts. But then yesterday, somebody told me actually that this could be weather for two, but labor for one. And being a Labor Day, allow me to wish you all the best as you labor to also make sure that the kinds of Kiplagat Sabulei who could want to be governors in the near future will have voters. Anyway, if you know, you know. Being the first day of May 2023, I want to wish you all the best as you start a new month. And of course, it also falls on a Monday. So let me wish you a very beautiful week. This has been the Morning Glory show, coming live from Dawi Afrique Photography. We are a production house based in Eldoret, Zion Mall. Anytime you need to have a good experience in front of the camera. Anytime you need images that go beyond imagination, this is the right place to come. And also, if you just need to dress, not just dressing, but you need to dress to be a dress, walk into D-Square Fashion House. If you want to take up fashion as a career, D-Square, now, School of Fashion Design and Tailoring, will give you the best. Both D-Square School of Fashion Design both D-Square School of Fashion Design and the Fashion House are situated at the 4th floor of KTS building in Eldoret. Till tomorrow, where we'll be talking to the experts in the Juakali sector. Have a very beautiful day and enjoy the Labor Day. Good morning, everybody. Wakey, wakey. It's time for Morning Glory. My name is MC Kalia, and I'll be your captain for the next 1 hour, 30 minutes. Let's have this conversation going. Good morning, everybody. Wakey, wakey. It's time for Morning Glory. My name is MC Kalia, and I'll be your captain for the next 1 hour, 30 minutes. Let's have this conversation going.